We have been a part of North End practically ever since 1960. We are a part of North End. North End is who we are. Even though we moved away and our children went to other schools in the Northwest, North End is where we lived and who we are.
The North End is probably one of the, has the richest history, I think, in the city of Detroit.
I remember North End as being a thriving area, a thriving neighborhood.
We didn't have the neighborhood blight or decay or vacancy. It was very densely populated. It was a very safe community.
Growing up in this neighborhood, I remember Oakland Avenue was the main street for the community. Up and down Oakland Street, oh my God, it was just bustling with businesses and restaurants and nightclubs and music.
There was a cleaners, there was a delicatessen where you could go and get your corned beef and pastrami sandwiches, which was delicious. And right across from there was the Five and Dime store. And you could go in there and for $1, you could come out with a nice bag.
The North End, in terms of food supply, was very, very rich. There were meat markets where you could buy fresh meat and fish, and there was produce. And I think every house had a garden because when the people moved here from the South, they were farmers and they were accustomed to gardening.
I really enjoyed, again, growing up on the North End because, you really didn't have to go far, to have your needs met.
You had shopping, you had banks, furniture stores, shoes, clothing, whatever in entertainment. I remember our parents and relatives and neighbors getting dressed to the nines to go out and party along the corridor.
In general, the community was real supportive of one another, and the mothers, they sort of took turns in raising and responsibilities over the kids,
It didn't matter who your mama and your daddy were. Everybody was your family.
This was the strongest black community in the city of Detroit back in the 50s and 60s.
After the 1967 riots, it was totally different.
We lost a lot during that period of time. A lot of businesses moved out, a lot of residents moved out, and from that point it seemed as though this area started to deteriorate.
And so streets like Oakland Avenue and some of the main streets, Brush and John R., there were no longer those businesses, and so it became sort of a food desert.
When my mother, Reverend Carter, asked me to come back to the North End in 2008 to work, it was troubling. I felt afraid. I felt like this was not a neighborhood that I knew. And so I had to learn it all over again. But it was interesting, even though on the outside, I felt like I didn't know this neighborhood, when I started talking to people, some of the memories came back. That helped me to learn more about what was going on in terms of the needs of the community and how we could start our work.
My concern and hunger has always been that our children would grow up and be strong and be independent and be builders.
Farming has been a critical part of restoring the neighborhood in the sense that it brought people together again. who hadn't necessarily connected with their neighbors like they did in the past.
I'm starting to see a rejuvenation, and I'm real proud of that, and I'm, you know, proud to be a part of that. I'm real certain that the North End is on the way for a new birth.